The 90s gave birth to some of our favourite anime. So in this video I'm going to be listing some of the must-watch anime from that decade. Remember, this is not the top 10, I'm just giving some recommendations. Raujin Z was Katsuhiro Otomo's next project after Akira. He didn't direct the movie, but he wrote it, and wrote the manga. It's a very simple movie, but it's a very interesting one. It follows the short journey of a few characters as they tell a really touching story. It's a very interesting look into a possible future with a brilliant classic anime feel. Definitely worth checking out, especially if you're an Otomo fan. There are so many slice of life comedy school anime out these days, but none of them can compare to Great Teacher Onizuka. The anime clocks in at 43 episodes, and they're all worth watching. It's about an ex-gang member who lands a job teaching at school. I know it sounds like a generic premise, but it's not. GTO is full of the perfect mix between great comedy, really touching emotional moments, and everything in between. The show might be a little bit dated, but it's not lost any of its charm. So many anime try to add dark political themes to seem serious, but few do it as good as Jinro. In an alternative Japan where World War II had a different outcome, the country is plunged into a dark mess. Civilians protest while politicians turn a blind eye. Our story follows a soldier as he finds himself lost and confused in the situation. It's a dark but moving story about war and its effect on everybody. With stunning cinematography and immersive writing, this is one of my all-time favourite anime films. One of the most unique pieces of art I've ever experienced is Serial Experiments Lain. A very early Yoshitoshi Abe series, Lain is still today one of the most unique anime shows out there. Everything from its narrative style to its art direction is phenomenal. It's quite easily one of the best and boldest anime series out there, rivaled successfully by very few. Another classic is Berserk, an adaptation of the fantastic manga series of the same name. Berserk is one of the most powerful anime series of the decade. The animation hasn't aged that well over the years, but the gritty art style makes up for it completely. It tells a harsh story with brilliant characters, writing and tension. I definitely recommend this over the movie remakes. If you've not watched Cowboy Bebop, what have you been doing? Bebop is a fantastic show that has aged beautifully over the years, and has remained high on my list ever since I watched it. It's a fantastic blend of genres, directing styles and visual styles. It's also one of the most important shows of the decade for the Western industry. If you like Cowboy Bebop, then you'll also like Trigun. It's another episodic show that follows a similar set of characters. Again, it blends together genres to create a really unique show. It's not as hard-hitting as Bebop, but it does have its fair share of serious moments. Macross Plus is part of the Macross franchise, but it doesn't tie in as much as the other installments. It's a lot darker than the original series and focuses on a smaller set of characters. The story is very good, but it's the visuals that really leave an impact. It's a fantastic portrayal of a crazy sci-fi world. The animation alone is a good reason to watch this, but the story is fantastic too, with its emotional twists and great character interactions. Possibly one of the most talked about anime series ever, and for good reason. Evangelion was incredibly innovative for its time, and still is today. It almost single-handedly saved the industry and sparked a whole artistic movement of anime. These days its influence is hard to grasp, but the show's genius isn't as hard. It's an amazing mix of great written characters and a massive story. Having some of the most in-depth characters ever written bounce off each other is fantastic to watch. The series is something every single anime fan should watch before calling themselves an anime fan. It's a powerful experience regardless of your age and taste. If you spent any time on my channel, you've probably spent some time listening to me talk about Ghost in the Shell. It's one of the smartest movies ever made. It's a glorious mixture of some of the best written dialogue in anime and some of the best action. It mixes deep philosophical content with some awesome sci-fi action and world building. Another must-watch piece for anyone that wants to call themselves an anime fan. It hasn't aged at all since it was made 20 years ago, and will continue to remain one of the greatest pieces of Japanese animation. The 90s hosted some of the best anime series and movies the industry has ever seen. If you haven't already, make sure you give some of the anime on this list a go. Although it's good to watch new anime, it's just as good to watch the older stuff. If you have something from the 90s you believe is a must watch, then leave it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please do click the like button and share it around. And of course, if you want to watch more videos, you can click any of them on the screen, or you can subscribe.